February is the most important gardening month of the year, and most gardeners are wasting it completely. While others are waiting for spring, smart gardeners are sowing specific seeds right now that will give them 2 to 3 months head start on the growing season. Seeds that will produce vegetables in April while everyone else is just starting to plant. Seeds that thrive in February's unique conditions and fail if you wait too long. February isn't too early. It's perfectly timed. For certain crops, it's the ideal month. Wait until March or April and you've missed the window entirely. But here's the problem. Most gardening advice is generic. Plant tomatoes in spring. Wait until last frost. Nobody tells you exactly what to plant in February, why February matters for those specific seeds, and how to do it successfully. Until today. Hey there, fellow gardeners. Welcome back to Garden Solace. Today, I'm revealing the complete guide to February seed sowing. Not the obvious stuff everyone already knows, the strategic, intelligent approach that maximizes your garden's productivity by starting specific crops at the perfect time. I'm covering 10 seeds you should sow in February, listed in order of priority from most important to least. For each seed, I'll explain why February is ideal, exactly how to sow it, whether to start indoors or direct sow, what mistakes kill success rates, and when you'll harvest. This isn't random, this is strategic. Each seed on this list has specific reasons it belongs in February. Temperature requirements, germination times, transplant schedules, days to maturity, they all align to make February the optimal sowing month. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete February planting plan that puts you months ahead of gardeners who wait. You'll know exactly what to plant, how to plant it, and why timing matters. This is smart gardening. This is working with nature's cycles instead of against them. This is how you get early harvests, extended seasons, and maximum productivity from your garden. Let's dive into the 10 most important seeds to sow in February. Seed 1. Onions, the February priority crop. First and most important, onions. If you plant only one thing in February, make it onions. Onions require a long growing season. From seed to harvest takes 100 to 120 days minimum, often longer for storage varieties. Starting in February gives you large, well-developed bulbs by midsummer. Why February specifically? Onions are triggered to form bulbs by day length. When days reach a certain length, usually 14 to 16 hours depending on variety, the plant stops producing leaves and starts forming a bulb. If you start too late, the plant doesn't have time to produce enough leaves before bulbing begins. More leaves equals bigger bulbs. February sowing gives onions maximum leaf development time before day length triggers bulbing. This creates the largest possible bulbs. How to sow? Start onions indoors in February. They're cold hardy but germinate better with indoor warmth. Use seed starting trays or small containers with quality seed starting mix. Plant seeds 1/4 inch deep, about 1/2 inch apart. You'll thin them later, so don't worry about perfect spacing now. Water gently and place in a warm location. 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit is ideal. Under these conditions, onions germinate in 7 to 14 days. Once seedlings emerge, provide strong light. A south-facing window works, but grow lights are better. Onion seedlings stretch and get weak quickly without adequate light. When seedlings are 3 to 4 inches tall and have been growing for 6 to 8 weeks, they're ready to transplant outdoors. This usually happens in April, 6 to 8 weeks after February sowing. Transplant outdoors 4 to 6 weeks before last frost. Onions tolerate cold and light frost easily. Common mistakes: starting onions too late. Waiting until March or April means smaller bulbs because the plant has less time for leaf development before bulbing begins. More leaves equals bigger bulbs. Not providing enough light to seedlings, resulting in weak, leggy plants. Planting too deeply. Onion seeds need light for best germination, so plant shallow. Harvest timing. February sown onions means harvesting in July or August. That's 5 to 6 months from seed to full-sized storage onions. Early varieties might mature sooner. Best varieties for February sowing. For northern gardeners, long-day varieties like Copra, Patterson, or Elsa Craig. For southern gardeners, short-day varieties like Texas Early Grano or Red Creole. Onions are the #1 February priority because they need the longest growing season and benefit most from early sowing. Seed 2, leeks, the long-season allium. Second priority, leeks. Like onions, leeks need an extremely long growing season, even longer than onions, 140 to 180 days from seed to harvest. February sowing is critical for leeks. Start them any later, either you get small leeks or they don't mature before cold weather stops growth. Why leeks in February? Leeks grow slowly, very slowly, but they're incredibly cold hardy. They tolerate frost and even light freezes. This combination, slow growth plus cold tolerance, makes February perfect. You start them indoors in February, transplant them outdoors in spring, and they grow all summer into fall, ready for harvest in late summer through fall and even winter. How to sow. Start leeks indoors in February exactly like onions. Seed starting mix in trays or containers. Plant seeds 1/4 inch deep, 1/2 inch apart. Keep cool, 65 to 70 degrees. Germination takes 10 to 14 days under these conditions. Provide strong light once seedlings emerge. Leek seedlings are even more prone to stretching without adequate light. When seedlings are 3 to 4 inches tall and have been growing for 6 to 8 weeks, they're ready to transplant outdoors. This usually happens in mid-April, mid to late April. Unique leek planting method. Unlike most vegetables, leeks are planted in trenches or deep holes. Dig a trench 6 inches deep, place leek seedlings at the bottom, and gradually fill in soil as plants grow. This blanches the stem, creating the white portion that's the edible portion. Common mistakes: not starting early enough. Leeks take forever. February sowing is essential. Not providing deep planting or blanching, which results in short white portions and mostly green tops. Allowing flower stalks to develop in the first year, which makes leeks woody and inedible. Harvest timing. February sown leeks are ready to harvest starting in August and can be left in the ground until November or even later. In mild climates, leeks overwinter and can be harvested through winter. Best varieties: King Richard for earlier harvest, Bandit for disease resistance, Giant Musselburgh for traditional large leeks. Leeks are your second February priority because they need the longest growing season of any common vegetable. Seed 3, sweet peas, the February flower. Third, sweet peas. Yes, these are flowers, not food, but if you grow cut flowers or want beautiful, fragrant blooms in late spring, February is your sowing month. Why February for sweet peas? Sweet peas are cool season flowers. They germinate in cool conditions and grow vigorously in spring's cool temperatures. They bloom before summer heat ends their season. February sowing, either indoors or in a cold frame, gives sweet peas the cool conditions they need for strong root development. By the time they're transplanted outdoors in early spring, they're robust plants ready to grow quickly. How to sow? Sweet pea seeds have hard coats. Pre-soak them for 12 to 24 hours before sowing. This softens the coat and speeds germination. Alternatively, nick the seed coat with a nail file or knife. A small scratch that breaks the coat allows water penetration. Plant pre-soaked or nicked seeds in deep containers. Sweet peas develop long tap roots. Use containers at least 4 inches deep. Plant seeds 1 inch deep. Keep cool. 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit is ideal. Under these conditions, sweet peas germinate in 14 to 21 days under these conditions. Transplant outdoors in early spring as soon as soil is workable. Sweet peas tolerate frost and cold. Provide support immediately. Sweet peas are vigorous climbers and need trellising. Common mistakes. Sowing in warm conditions indoors, which causes poor germination and weak growth. Not pre-soaking seeds, resulting in slow, uneven germination. Waiting too long to plant, missing the cool weather they need. Harvest timing. February sown sweet peas are blooming in May and June, giving you weeks of fragrant cut flowers before summer heat ends their season. Seed 4. Spinach, the cool season powerhouse. Fourth priority, spinach. February is prime time for spinach because it's a cool season crop that thrives in conditions that would stress warm season vegetables. Why spinach in February? Spinach germinates in soil as cool as 35 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It grows vigorously in temperatures from 40 to 70 degrees. Once temperatures consistently exceed 75 degrees, spinach bolts, sends up a flower stalk, and becomes bitter and inedible. February sowing, either indoors for transplanting or direct sown in protected areas or mild climates, gives you harvestable spinach in April or May before hot weather triggers bolting. How to sow? Spinach can be started indoors or direct sown depending on your climate. For indoor starting, sow in trays or containers with seed starting mix. Seeds ½ inch deep, 1 inch apart. Keep cool, 50 to 65 degrees. Germination takes 7 to 14 days. Transplant outdoors 3 to 4 weeks later when seedlings have true leaves. For direct sowing, in zones 7 and warmer, you can direct sow spinach outdoors in February. Plant in a protected area or under row covers. Seeds ½ inch deep, 2 inches apart in rows. Thin to 4 to 6 inches between plants once seedlings emerge. Quick pause. If you want to see more smart gardening tricks like this, hype this video so we can reach more gardeners. Hit that like button right now. It tells the algorithm to spread this information to people who need it. Growing tips. Spinach needs consistent moisture but good drainage. Keep soil evenly moist. Harvest by cutting outer leaves when they're 4 to 6 inches long. The plant continues producing from the center. Common mistakes. Waiting too long to plant, resulting in harvest during hot weather when plants bolt immediately. Planting too shallowly. Seeds need darkness and good soil contact to germinate. Over-thinning. Spinach can be grown more densely than most vegetables. Harvest timing. Indoor-started spinach sown in February is ready for first harvest in April. Direct-sown spinach in mild climates is ready in late April or early May. Best varieties: Bloomsdale for crinkled Savoy-type leaves, Space for smooth leaves and bolt resistance, Regiment for baby leaf production. Seed 5, lettuce, the continuous harvest crop. Fifth, lettuce. Like spinach, lettuce is a cool season crop that does best when started in late winter. Why February for lettuce? Lettuce germinates poorly in temperatures above 75 degrees and grows best in temperatures from 45 to 65 degrees. It bolts in heat just like spinach. February sowing gives you mature lettuce in April and May before summer heat ruins it. Additionally, lettuce has a short growing cycle. From seed to harvest takes just 45 to 60 days for most varieties. February sowing means April harvests. You can succession plant every 2 weeks through spring for continuous harvests. How to sow? Lettuce can be started indoors or direct sown depending on climate and variety. For indoor starting, sow in trays with seed starting mix. Lettuce seeds are tiny, sprinkle on soil surface and barely cover with fine soil or vermiculite. Seeds need some light for germination, so don't bury deeply. Keep cool, 60 to 65 degrees. Germination takes 7 to 10 days. Transplant outdoors 3 to 4 weeks later when seedlings have true leaves. For direct sowing, in zone 7 and warmer, you can direct sow lettuce outdoors in February. Plant in a protected area or under row covers. Seeds ½ inch deep, 2 inches apart in rows. Thin to 4 to 6 inches between plants once seedlings emerge. Growing tips: lettuce has shallow roots and needs consistent moisture. Don't let soil dry out. Harvest leaf lettuce by cutting outer leaves, head lettuce by cutting the whole head at soil level when firm. Common mistakes: planting lettuce too deep. Seeds need light, barely cover them. Letting soil dry out. Lettuce needs consistent moisture to prevent bitterness. Growing lettuce in full summer sun, it needs partial shade once temperatures climb. Harvest timing: February sown lettuce is ready starting in April. With succession planting every 2 weeks, you have fresh lettuce from April through June before heat stops production. Best varieties: Butter Crunch for buttery heads, Red Sails for loose leaf reddish lettuce, Tom Thumb for mini heads perfect for small gardens or containers, Oak Leaf for distinctive shape and bolt resistance. Seed 6, broccoli, the brassica that needs time. Sixth, broccoli. This is where many gardeners fail. They plant broccoli too late and it never heads up properly before heat ruins it. Why broccoli in February? Broccoli needs cool weather to form heads. It also needs time, 65 to 85 days from transplant to harvest, which means even longer from seed. February sowing solves this. Start broccoli indoors in February, transplant outdoors in early April, and harvest in June before peak summer heat. How to sow? Start broccoli indoors in February. Use seed starting mix in trays or individual containers. Plant seeds ½ inch deep. Keep moderate temperatures, 65 to 70 degrees. Germination takes 5 to 10 days. Broccoli germinates quickly and reliably under these conditions. Provide strong light once seedlings emerge. Broccoli seedlings get leggy quickly without adequate light. Transplant outdoors 4 to 6 weeks before last frost. Broccoli tolerates frost and cold easily. Seedlings should be 4 to 6 weeks old with several sets of true leaves at transplant time. Spacing. Broccoli needs room. Space plants 18 to 24 inches apart. Crowding reduces head size significantly. Growing tips. Broccoli is a heavy feeder. Fertilize regularly with nitrogen-rich fertilizer for strong leaf and head development. Keep soil consistently moist. Water stress during head formation reduces head quality. Harvest when heads are tight and firm but before flowers begin opening. Cut the main head with about 6 inches of stem. The plant will produce smaller side shoots for several more weeks. Common mistakes. Starting too late. February is crucial for June harvest. Planting in a location that gets too hot. Broccoli needs a cool spot. Not providing enough nitrogen. Broccoli needs feeding to produce good heads. Harvest timing. February sown broccoli transplanted in early April is ready for harvest in June. Best varieties. Calabrese for traditional green heads. Purple sprouting for cold hardiness and beautiful purple stems. Desico for quick maturity and heavy side shoot production. Seed 7. Cauliflower, broccoli's finicky cousin. 7th, cauliflower. Everything about broccoli applies to cauliflower, but cauliflower is even more particular about timing and temperature. Why cauliflower in February? Cauliflower is extremely sensitive to stress. Any stress, heat, cold, water, causes the plant to button, forming tiny premature heads instead of full-sized ones. February sowing allows the plant to mature during ideal conditions without stress. Cauliflower also takes longer than broccoli, 70 to 90 days from transplant to harvest. That's 3 months from transplanting, which means 4 to 5 months from seed. February sowing is essential for successful cauliflower. How to sow? Exactly like broccoli. Start indoors in seed starting mix, seeds ½ inch deep, 65 to 70 degrees for germination, 5 to 10 days to germinate. Transplant outdoors 4 to 6 weeks before last frost. Cauliflower is hardy and tolerates cold. Growing tips. Cauliflower needs consistent everything. Consistent moisture, consistent temperature, consistent feeding. Any fluctuation causes stress and buttoning. When heads start forming, some varieties need blanching. Tie outer leaves over the developing head to keep it white and prevent yellowing from sun exposure. Check every few days as heads grow quickly. Harvest when heads are 6 to 8 inches in diameter and still tight and firm. Common mistakes. Any kind of stress, irregular watering, temperature swings, transplant shock, all cause buttoning. Not blanching white varieties resulting in yellow or purple discolored heads. Harvest timing. February sown cauliflower is ready late June or July. Best varieties. Snow Crown for reliability and pure white heads. Cheddar for unique orange color and no blanching needed. Graffiti for purple heads that hold color when cooked. Cauliflower is harder than broccoli, but February sowing gives you the best chance of success by providing ideal timing and temperature conditions. Seed 8. Cabbage, the storage champion. 8th, cabbage. Cabbage is remarkably cold hardy and benefits enormously from February sowing. Why cabbage in February? Cabbage takes a long time to form heads, 70 to 120 days from transplant, depending on variety. Early varieties are faster, storage varieties take longer. Cabbage is also one of the most cold-tolerant vegetables. It tolerates hard frosts and even light freezes. This makes February perfect. Start indoors in February, transplant outdoors in early spring, and harvest in summer. How to sow. Start cabbage indoors in seed starting mix. Plant seeds ½ inch deep. Germination 65 to 70 degrees. Germination takes 5 to 10 days. Transplant outdoors 4 to 6 weeks before last frost. Cabbage is incredibly hardy and laughs at cold that would kill tomatoes or peppers. Space plants 12 to 18 inches apart, depending on variety. Early varieties can be closer. Storage varieties need more space for large heads. Growing tips. Cabbage needs consistent moisture and heavy feeding. It's a brassica, so it needs nitrogen for leaf development, which creates the head. Fertilize every 2 to 3 weeks with balanced fertilizer. Harvest when heads are firm and solid. Cut at soil level. For storage varieties, wait until heads are very firm and dense. Common mistakes: not feeding enough. Cabbage needs more fertilizer than most people provide. Harvesting too early. Wait for firmness. Letting heads split. This happens when cabbage is left too long after maturity, or when rainfall follows drought, causing rapid expansion. Harvest timing. February sown early cabbage is ready in June. Storage cabbage in July or August. Best varieties: Early Jersey Wakefield for quick maturity, Golden Acre for medium-sized round heads, Danish Ballhead for massive storage heads that keep for months. Cabbage is an underrated February crop that provides substantial harvest weight from early sowing. Seed 9. Kale, the nutritional powerhouse. 9th, kale. Kale is incredibly cold-hardy and actually tastes better when exposed to frost. Why kale in February? Kale can be harvested at any size, from baby greens to full-sized leaves. February sowing gives you harvestable greens by April and continuous harvest through fall and even winter. Kale is also remarkably unfussy. It tolerates cold, heat, neglect, and still produces. February sowing just extends the harvest season even longer. How to sow. Kale can be started indoors or direct sown depending on climate. For indoor starting, sow seeds 1/4 inch deep in seed starting mix. Germination at 65 degrees takes 5 to 8 days. Transplant outdoors 3 to 4 weeks later. For direct sowing, in zones 7 and warmer with workable soil, direct sow kale in February. Plant 1/4 inch deep, 3 inches apart. Thin to 12 inches between plants. Growing tips. Harvest outer leaves continuously. The plant keeps producing from the center. Kale actually improves after frost, becoming sweeter. Common mistakes: harvesting too aggressively early on. Let the plant establish before heavy harvesting. Not protecting from cabbage worms. These are kale's main pest. Use row covers or organic BT spray. Harvest timing. February sown kale is ready for first harvest in April. It produces until hard freezes or even through winter with protection. Best varieties: Lacinato or dinosaur kale for tender, dark leaves. Red Russian for cold hardiness and beautiful purple stems. Winter boar for extreme cold tolerance. Snap peas, the early spring treat. 10th and final, snap peas. These are a gardener's favorite for good reason. They're delicious, productive, and perfectly suited for February sowing. Why snap peas in February? Peas are cool season crops. They germinate in cold soil, grow vigorously in cool weather, and produce heavily before summer heat shuts them down. February sowing, either indoors in cold climates or direct sown in mild climates, gives you peas producing in May or early June, often while neighbors are just planting their gardens. How to sow. Peas are typically direct sown, but can be started indoors in cold climates for earlier harvest. For direct sowing, in zones 7 and warmer with workable soil, direct sow peas in February. Plant 1 inch deep, 2 inches apart. Peas germinate in soil as cold as 40 degrees, though germination is faster in warmer soil. For indoor starting, in cold climates, sow peas in deep containers. Peas develop long roots. Use containers at least 4 inches deep. Plant 1 inch deep. Keep cool, 55 to 65 degrees. Transplant outdoors 3 weeks later. Provide support immediately. Snap peas are climbers and need trellising. Install supports at planting time. Growing tips. Peas need consistent moisture, but good drainage. They're light feeders, so don't over-fertilize. Harvest snap peas when pods are full and plump, but before they get tough. Pick regularly to encourage more pod production. Common mistakes. Planting in warm soil. Peas germinate poorly above 70 degrees. Not providing support. Snap peas climb 6 feet or more and need trellising. Over-fertilizing. Too much nitrogen produces leaves at the expense of pods. Harvest timing. February sown snap peas are ready for harvest in late May or June, depending on variety and climate. Best varieties: Sugar Snap for classic thick, sweet pods. Super Sugar Snap for improved disease resistance. Cascadia for consistent production. February sowing success tips. Now that you know what to sow in February, here are critical tips for success that apply across all these seeds. Temperature control matters. Different seeds need different germination temperatures. Onions, broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower like moderate warmth, 65 to 70 degrees. Spinach, lettuce, peas, and sweet peas prefer cool temperatures, 55 to 65 degrees. Create temperature zones in your home. A cool basement for cool season crops, a warmer room for crops needing more heat. This simple adjustment dramatically improves germination rates. Light is critical. Seedlings need strong light immediately upon emergence. South-facing windows work for some crops, but grow lights are superior. Inadequate light creates weak, leggy seedlings that never thrive. Position lights 2 to 4 inches above seedlings and raise as plants grow. Run lights 16 hours daily. Moisture management. Seeds and seedlings need consistent moisture, but not waterlogging. Use containers with drainage holes. Water from below by placing containers in trays of water, allowing soil to wick up moisture. This prevents disturbing seeds or seedlings with overhead watering. Don't overwater. More seedlings die from overwatering than underwatering. Let the soil surface dry slightly between waterings. Hardening off. Indoor started seedlings need gradual acclimation to outdoor conditions before transplanting. This is called hardening off. 1 week before transplanting, start placing seedlings outdoors in a protected location for a few hours daily. Gradually increase time outdoors over the week. By the transplant day, seedlings are spending full days and nights outdoors. This prevents transplant shock and produces vigorous plants. Succession planting. For crops like lettuce and spinach, sow a new batch every 2 to 3 weeks through spring. This creates continuous harvests instead of one big harvest, then nothing. Record keeping. Keep notes on what you planted, when, and results. This information is invaluable for improving next year's February sowing. These success tips separate mediocre results from outstanding results. Pay attention to these details and your February sown seeds will thrive. There you have it, the complete guide to smart February seed sowing. We covered 10 priority seeds in order of importance. Onions, the longest season crop that needs February sowing for large bulbs. Leeks, even longer season than onions. Sweet peas for early spring flowers. Spinach and lettuce, cool season greens ready before summer heat. Broccoli and cauliflower, brassicas that need time and cool conditions. Cabbage for substantial summer harvest. Kale for continuous production, and snap peas for an early spring treat. Each seed has specific reasons why February is optimal. Long growing seasons, cool temperature requirements, timing harvest before heat, or simply extending the productive season by starting early. February isn't too early. For these 10 crops, it's perfectly timed. It's strategic. It's smart gardening. While other gardeners are waiting for spring, you're sowing seeds that will give you harvests weeks or months earlier. While they're planting in April, you're already harvesting greens. While they're hoping for broccoli in summer heat, yours is producing perfectly in June before temperatures spike. This is the advantage of smart, strategic planting timing. Start this week. February is here now. Don't wait. Get your seeds, your seed starting mix, your containers, and your light set up. By the end of February, you should have all 10 crops started. If this video gave you a clear February planting roadmap, smash that like button and subscribe to Garden Solace for more strategic gardening guides. Drop a comment telling me which February seed you're most excited to sow. Share this with your gardening friends who are wondering what to do in February. They're waiting for spring. You're getting ahead of spring. Now get out there, start those seeds, and give yourself the gift of early, abundant harvests that come from smart February sowing. Thank you for watching Garden Solace. Happy sowing, and I'll see you in the next video.